Gonna try, gonna try, gonna try. Work till I die, till I die, till I die. I'm gonna fail and get up, 'cause I'm not giving up on my dream. Don't wanna take it slow.
Hi my lovely Frosty fam, it's me, Karen Frost, here at Nail Decadence, and I've got this video for you using some acrylic. It's going to be a not polished type set. As usual, I mix my own coloured acrylic powders. If you're interested in how I do that, then go ahead and click the link at the top of the screen. That'll take you to my video on how I mix my acrylic colours. So I'm using maple leaves again, as you saw from the thumbnail, and obviously showing you the maple leaves. I promise this last one, I know I know I've done a lot of maple leaves videos, but I did love them. I had a thing about the maple leaves and I wanted to try loads of different colours, so yeah, but this is the last one, I promise. Well, until next year. This is the last one using the maple leaves for this year. Yeah, what can I say? I love them. I'm sorry if you're sick of them. Anywho, welcome to my channel. Welcome one and all. How are you doing? I hope you're all doing really, really well. It's cold. It's blooming cold, and I'm not looking forward to the rest of winter and it getting even colder. Oh, this winter is gonna suck so bad. Anywho, let's get on with what I'm doing in the video. As usual, I'm using the lovely Handolly. If you're interested in getting yourself a silicone practice hand, head on over to www.handolly.co.uk. I have an affiliate code with Handolly and it is FROST10 for you to get a discount should you wish to use my code. Of course, you are by no means obligated to do so, but yeah, just so you know, I always let you know which codes are affiliates and which ones are not. So if I don't say a code's an affiliate code, I'm not an affiliate. Anywho, so as you saw, I had already prepared the nails and applied the tips and blended them in before I started filming, and then I applied my thin clear base. I always apply a thin clear base. This is to protect the natural nail from the acrylic being staining it. It's to offer a tiny amount of strength, and it also gives you something to file back to when you are doing a redesign. So once I did that, then I'm doing an extended nail bed, and as you can see, I'm applying that cover pink, and I'm just patting and pressing and shaping it as best I can with my brush. Later on I will file that in to make sure it's a nice sharp shape, and as you saw, I did that in 3 beads. So the first bead was forming the extended nail bed down to the length I wanted it to go. Then the second bead, and work my way up to the cuticle area. That's where I placed my third bead. Get that nice and neat around the cuticle area, keep it thin, and then I cap the whole lot with clear acrylic. I like to cap everything. You can build the nail with the cover pink, it is a strength powder, however I always prefer to put clear over the top. It's just the way I like to do things. It helps to make your colours last longer, but it's also about the look of it. I like the way it looks with the clear over the top. It just gives it that glass effect that I really enjoy, so that's why I do that. And moving on, we'll let the extended nail bed set up and move on to the next nail. And on the ring finger, I'm doing a sort of swoosh type deal. This is one of the shapes that I kind of just came up with. I've done it on quite a few sets because I really like the way it looks. I basically do a sort of semicircle for the cover pink, but then I swoosh it into a narrow stripe right up the length of the nail down to the tip. It's not up, down. So I swoosh it down all the way to the very free edge of the nail in a narrow stripe, and I really like the way it looks, so I've done it quite a few times. It's just one of those things you kind of play with and come up with, and yeah, that's it's a little bit different from a normal swoosh, and I'm always trying to find new techniques and styles of doing nails. I mean, there's no right way or wrong way. on how you want to design your nails, you know, just do what you like. And this is one of the designs that I really enjoy, so yeah, I'm going with it. So as you saw, I applied that cuticle bead, got that nice and neat around the cuticle area, and then I'm adding my clear as usual to build the strength and structure of the nail. Cap it all in clear, always do it. That's just me, you don't have to, like I said. So add in that second bead of clear, and I'm going to bring that down over the stripe to build that up to the correct thickness. But I'm also going to use my brush to really shape that acrylic so that it doesn't flow over the side of the cover pink, because I don't want, what I don't want is a gap between the cover pink and the black, because I'm going to be butting the black acrylic powder and monomer, of course. I'm going to be butting the black up against that stripe, and if the clear flows over the side that I am applying that black butting up against, there will be a clear stripe down in between the colours. So that's why I'm being careful. I was being careful about how I placed the clear over that cover pink stripe, because like I said, if that flows over that side that I'm going to be, that wall that I'm butting the black up against, there will be a clear stripe in between the black and the cover pink, which I didn't want. So yeah, just make sure if you're doing something like this and you want to cap it like I do, make sure it doesn't flow over, because if it does, you will have a gap essentially of clear acrylic between the two colours that you're using. So as you saw, moved on to the index finger, did a full nail of black, applied that black very thinly. We just want the colour payoff, we don't want to bulk out the nail, because as you can see, I'm applying lots of maple leaves, and as you can see, I also sort of bent the maple leaves a little bit so that they curve around. These tips are really C-curvy tips, so I kind of gave the maple leaves a little bit of a bend. You know what I'm like when I get, you know, big glitter pieces. I give them a bit of a bend so that they curve around the nail and don't stick up too much, because if they stick up too much, you're likely to file into them, and it's best to try and avoid that as much as possible. Sometimes you can't help it, it's just the way it is, it sticks up, there's nothing you can do about it, but I do try and avoid it as much as possible and mitigate it by just giving them a little bit of a bend so that they curve. And then as you saw, after I finished applying those maple leaves, I applied some of the copper leaf in a sort of diagonal stripe. Yeah, that's it, that's all I did with that. Let that set up, and moved on to the little finger. Again, I'm applying that black, and I'm being really careful around that cuticle area. You know what, yeah, well, you saw what happened with that other black. This is a black that I mixed myself using the nail nails, and as you can see, it still gets a bit messy, but it's not quite as messy as it was using the Model 1's acrylic powder, because that one just is very slow setting, but this one, because I'm using the nail acrylic, it's not too slow setting. But as you can see, I still managed to get some on the skin. Make sure you get it off, and then at the if you're working on a person, that is, make sure that you get to wash the hands as soon as possible, because monomer on the skin is very, very bad. We don't want monomer on the skin, but to get that acrylic off, I had to use a little bit of a damp brush to make sure that I removed the black from the skin. I mean, I know it's not skin, it's silicone, but you know what I mean. We're pretending she's human. So I've applied just some more maple leaves into that wet black acrylic again, this time just in a line, and then outlined that with some more of the copper leaf. Now that those maple leaves have set up on the index finger, now I'm going to cap. When you are capping glitter pieces or any kind of glitter or embellishments that you are encapsulating, try and make your beads just a little bit wetter, not too sloppy, you know, just a little bit wetter, because it helps it to slide over the glitter pieces better and fill in the gaps better, and you're less likely to get what's it called? Oh, sorry, brain fart. God, I can't think. Pockets, bubbles, that's it, air bubbles. I'm so not cutting this bit out. I'm not recording that again. Yeah, anyway, yeah, my brain is broken. Oh, just slightly wetter beads so that you don't get air bubbles and air pockets. So that's what I meant to say. Good gracious. Woo! Yeah, voicing over is a thing, isn't it? It's easier than it's easier looks than it's hey, oh my god, I really can't. It's not as easy as it looks or sounds, is what I mean to say. Wow, I really need to just focus on what I'm doing in the video. Oh gosh. Right, anyway, so I'm capping that little fingernail again with the clear being slightly wetter than a normal clear bead, so that you are managing to avoid air pockets and bubbles, and that the clear fits into all the little nooks and crannies, and yeah, then you get some good clarity as well. It also helps with clarity. Make sure when you're doing this excuse me, I've mentioned in other videos, but I'll mention it here again. I use 2 pots of monomer when I'm using a darker acrylic powder. And the reason being is you can contaminate, if you don't wipe your brush really well, you can contaminate your monomer with the dark colour. So as I'm using black, it's very easy to contaminate the monomer with the black, so that when you go to cap with the clear, your clear is then tainted and is no longer as clear as it should be. So to avoid that, it's not hard to do. Just use 2 different monomer dishes and only dip your colour into one and only use your clear for the other. So, you know, I use the clear and the one monomer dish for the clear and the cover pink, and then the other monomer dish just for the black. That way it's, yeah, like I said, it doesn't contaminate, the black can't contaminate the other colours. And as you can see, I am filing in those colour blocks, essentially the colour blocks, even though it's a French, it's still essentially a colour block. So yeah, filed that in, got that the way I wanted it to go. And now, as you can see, I am applying the black butted up against that wall in that swoosh type of pattern. I'm trying to do as much as I can with my brush as usual, because it's a curve. It's not so easy to file with a hand file, but you can use your e-file to really sharpen up that line. But try and do as much with your brush so that you've just literally got less filing to do. It's always that should always be your goal, is to have as little filing to do as possible. And I'm trying to keep the nail tip clean. I don't want the black smeared all over it, so you'll see I'll wipe off a lot of the black off the clear, because I don't want it to stay there. I want it off because I want that nail to stay clear. But if it does get on the clear nail, don't worry about it too much. Just wait for it to set up, and you can just file it off when you're filing in anyway, if that's what you need to do. Do you know what I mean? Because you once it's dry, you can file it off. It's not a problem. But as you can see, I'm going straight in with, because I cleaned it up, all the black off the clear tip. I'm going straight in with my maple leaves. I'm not filing in the black, as you can see. I did my I did quite neatly with my brush. I know it doesn't look really neat now, but you'll see when I file it. I did it quite neat with my brush so that I didn't really need to file it in. And because I'm not butting another colour up against the black, it's not so important for it to be really, really sharp. But if you wanted a really sharp line, then yeah, file in the black, definitely. If you've not been able to get it quite the way you want it to be with your brush, then yeah, file the black in before you apply the clear. That choice is up to you, but as you can see, I didn't feel the need to file in that black. I just went straight in with a bit of clear, applied those maple leaves and some more of the copper leaf, and then capped it all with a slightly wet bead of clear acrylic. And yeah, that's it. Just making sure I'm looking at that now from all different angles. The tip was a little bit thin, so I just added a little bit more of clear acrylic there, let that set up, and now I move on to the middle finger. Just dampened that nail down with a little bit of a wet bead of clear acrylic, very thin layer of clear acrylic, just to give those maple leaves something to stick onto, and add some more of that copper leaf. And of course then I will cap it all, of course, because you have to cap it all, keep them bits safe. So yeah, just once I've finished adding all the little bits of copper leaf that I want, you'll see I will indeed cap that in clear. I'm still faffing, still trying to put little bits of copper leaf on, and I'm like, oh, where can I fit a bit more? You know me, more is more. Yeah, I get a bit carried away when I'm applying embellishments, for sure. Or well, yeah, they are embellishments essentially, because they're embellishing the nail. So now I'm happy with that, filled in all the little gaps that I wanted to fill, and now I'll apply that clear. Like I said, bring that bead down, not too wet but slightly wetter, like I mentioned, try and avoid those air bubbles, and just fill out that nail, get it to the correct thickness. What we're going for is for the free edge to be no thicker than a credit card, and for it to be even from sidewall to sidewall, for it to be strong. But what you want to do is you want to give yourself sort of like a millimetre or half a millimetre to a millimetre of excess product, so that you've got something to file into. Otherwise you'll end, once you if you've done the nail the exact thickness you want it to be, once you file it will actually be too thin. So just bear that in mind. But what you don't want to do is over apply product so that you're filing forever to get it to the correct thickness, which is not too thick but not too thin, because it's a long nail. The apex doesn't need to be huge on a long nail, as long as you get it in that back third. It doesn't need to be massively long, and massively long, what am I talking about, massively high, it's not necessary. As long as you get it in that back third, you'll be fine. So it's filing time for my Frosty filing freaks. If you are not interested in the filing, please feel free to skip ahead to the timestamp that you saw in the corner of the screen. But for my Frosty filing freaks, here we go. So as you can see, I've got a bit of a blur square on, because my burn looks a bit mank and I didn't want you guys to be looking at it the whole time. I've tried to blur it out as best I can. It takes ages to try and get this blur thing on in the right place, so I kind of miss a few places here and there, please forgive me, but I've tried my best to blur out my burn on my hand as much as possible. I know it's mank, I'm sorry, you're looking at it. I totally forgot to put my plaster on, because I had washed my hands, and obviously plaster got wet, so I took it off and I forgot to put a new one on before I started filing. So apologies for that, but anywho, on with the filing. So as you can see, I filed around that cuticle area to get it nice and flush to the natural nail. Always be careful when you are filing the cuticle area. What you don't want to do is use your e-file and dig into the natural nail. We are only filing the acrylic to make sure that it is the same height as the natural nail. It's blended in so that there's no step, there's no lip, there's no gap, there's no lifting bits. We want to make sure it's nice and flush to that natural nail, so as it grows out it doesn't cause any issues, you don't get any lifting, and you don't end up like catching your hair on it and stuff. And when you feel it as it grows out, it should just be smooth. You shouldn't be able to feel where the acrylic starts. So, but you really do have to be careful, because if you're not careful, you will file into the natural nail, and that's how you get rings of fire, and you don't want to do that. So just bear in mind, be very careful. I know it looks like I'm going ham in these videos, but they are sped up. I take my time around that cuticle area, don't get me wrong, I do take my time around it because yeah, we don't want to file into the natural nail, and even though I'm working on Handolly, I don't want to form bad habits, so I try and treat her like I would a human being. So as you can see, I'm using I switched to a larger bit after I did the cuticle area. This bit is also an extra fine bit. There wasn't huge amount of debulking to do. You can see there's acrylic being filed off, but it's not a massive amount, and I'm just trying to file in my color block, make sure that it is looking nice and sharp, do any debulking that I need to do. And as you can see, I'm using my e-file to file some of the sidewalls and the under arch so that I've got less to do with my hand file. Now you see I've always got a different routine. You know what I'm like, I've got a million different routines. It all depends what length of the nails they are, how my cramping fingers are doing that particular day, as to how much I use my e-file and at which point I start doing the filing first. You'll see in some videos I start with the hand file first, other videos like this one you see I start with the e-file first. It's all about having a routine, and even though I have a million different routines, I don't use the same routine over and over again. I switch. It doesn't mean that I'm not using a routine. You will notice that I will do the same thing on each nail, no matter what routine I'm using. I will stick to that one routine for that particular set of nails. It's one of the key points to getting a uniform set of nails, because what you want is consistency in your nails. You want them to all be a similar width, a similar length, and a similar thickness, and to achieve that, it's really important that you do what you're doing on one nail on the other nail. Don't know what I stopped there for. I think my daughter probably came and asked me something. So yeah, you'll see I do the same thing on each nail. So I filed one side of the sidewalls, then did that on each nail, then I went back on and did the other side of the sidewall, and you can see I'll do that on each finger, but you also see that I stop and look, and then I will go back to a previous nail if it's not looking the same as the nail I'm working on, or I'll do a little bit more on the one I'm working on. It all needs to coincide. If you focus on just the nail you're working on without stopping and comparing it to the other nails, that's how you get inconsistency in your shaping. A lot of people struggle with filing and getting their nails even and equal to each other. The key points that really helped me to nail it down, I worked out, was literally stopping and looking and comparing each nail to the other one. I know you're probably bored of me saying it, but I get new subscribers all the time, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I want everyone to get the help they need, because filing is a big thing for newbies. I know it is. It was the bane of my existence for a long time, until I worked it out myself that stopping and comparing was really imperative for getting a uniform set, as well as a routine and doing the same thing on each nail. So as you saw, I finished with the hand file, and now I'm just using my sanding band to blend in those harsh lines, because when you're filing the sidewalls, you are essentially making an edge, and what we don't want is for that edge to remain. You want to smooth the entire nail, so you want to remove the demarcations from the e-file bit, which was the carbide extra fine bit. Even though it's an extra fine, it still leaves grooves in the nail, so you're smoothing the nail with the sanding band to remove those grooves, but you're also blending in. As you can see, I'm blending in those harsh edges that I filed with the hand file. A nail is to be curved. Unless you're doing a cube nail, there's no reason to have square edges. So you want to blend all that in so you've got a nice even curve that goes in a semicircle like that I'm showing you on the screen. Just, even, nice semicircle from sidewall to sidewall as you look down the barrel of the nail. So just bear that in mind. I can't stand it when people don't blend. I'm really pernickety. I can't stand it when people don't blend in that harsh edge and leave it there. I think it looks unsightly. But I suppose everyone does things the way they want to do things. If that's the way you like your nails, then you do you, boo. But me personally, I want the nails to have a really nice curve and be contoured and just, yeah, blended and shaped and smooth. And yeah, that just makes me happy. So as you can see, just looking at that nail from all different angles, making sure it's nice and smooth. Trying to make sure there are no frills underneath, because you know me, I hate those frills underneath. So I do, yeah, I find them really annoying. I don't know why people leave them underneath the nail. It jars me. I just can't. No, they must not remain. So now I'm just smoothing. This is a less harsh of a grit of file, so I'm just making sure that sidewall is nice and smooth and not jagged in any way, and removing any of the little frills from underneath. And then there we go, grab that buffing block, because like I said, can't stand them. So buff over the nail, remove any frills, and yeah, this is how you get a nice smooth nail. You don't necessarily need to use a buffing block when you use a sanding band, but this is me just being a bit extra. Sometimes I don't use the sanding blocks, sometimes I do. It depends on my mood and whether the demarcations from the sanding band are really bad or not. And because I'm doing some of these nails are going to nail tips are remaining clear, I really wanted it to be fairly smooth. Now you don't want to smooth it entirely, because then your top coat has nothing to grip onto and may peel off. So you want it smooth but not too smooth, if that makes sense. So just get rid of the biggest of the scratches and then you'll be fine. My hands were cramping as usual, that's why I keep stopping. Almost finished. Give that a good old buff and blend. Here we go. Remove all of the dust from underneath and over, and then give it one last look and check over. If there's nothing else that needs fixing, then we can wash the hands with some soap and water, then rub them with a bit of rubbing alcohol and a lint-free wipe. Soaps have moisturizers in them, so you want to try and remove that from the nail before you top coat. And then obviously now it's time to bling it, baby. So I'm just adding some of these black crystals. Thought that would add a nice little touch to this set. So I'm using the jewelry gel from Tony Lee. It's the Miss You one. It's really thick, so the gems really stick into it, and I only flash cured it, so you can see that those are still movable because I haven't cured it all the way yet. I'm just trying to get it to stay in place a bit before I added the other little crystals around it, but it's still movable because, like I said, it's just been flash cured, and as these crystals are black, the light can't penetrate through them to get to the gel, the jewelry gel that's holding it in place. So flash curing doesn't hold them all the way. What's the word? I'm losing my words. Flash curing isn't going to cure it all the way through because the light can't penetrate those black crystals. So what I did is after I finished placing all of the crystals on where I wanted them, I did actually double cure it. So just bear that in mind. If you're using some crystals that the light can't penetrate through, give it a double cure to give the light a chance to get through the little gaps and cure the gel that's holding them in place. So I'll just keep adding crystals where I want them to go. I'm also using the SPD London diamond gel pen because I love that stuff. It's great for holding on crystals, and I love the little nib because you can be so precise with it. Once I'm happy with that, I will give that a flash cure again, just to hold them in place so that I can top coat, and then like I said, then I'll give it a full cure, well, double cure actually. So Now it's time to top it off and keep it tough. Best part, look at that. What do you think? Oh, I really liked how this set came out. Let me know what you think. It's I know it's kind of, it can be seen as a bit boring because it's just copper and black, but I really liked this combination. Let me know what you think. But yeah, I did like it. Ugh, looks so cool, shiny. Yeah, I fell in love with this set. I did like it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've liked this set of nails. I hope it's inspired you in some way. Like I said, this is the last maple leaf one, I promise. Got some different videos coming for you afterwards. So as we are coming to the end of the video, I would like to say thank you ever so much for coming to my channel, spending some of your most precious time with me. I appreciate you ever so much. If you have not done so already, please go ahead and click that subscribe button, join the Frosty Fam. I'd love to have you. If you've enjoyed this video in any way, shape or form, or it's helped you in some way, or inspired you, you know, whatever, please click that like button. It takes but a second for you to do, but it really helps me out. And here we go, this is the finished set. As you can see, it's no longer shiny. I did the matte again. I know I'm using a lot of matte on the maple leaf, but it's so cool. I mean, it looked beautiful shiny, it really did, I'm not gonna lie. It looked beautiful shiny, but I wanted the matte, so yeah, here they are matte. So you kind of got a look of what they were going to look like shiny, but now here you go, here they are matte. So if you want to leave me a comment, feel free, I'm happy to talk to you. But yeah, that's all I've got for this time, peeps. I hope you enjoyed it. You take care now, and I'll speak to you all again very, very soon. Bye for now.
Somebody told me I should hit and run, but they don't know, they don't know, they don't know. Nobody knows but us how we roll, how we roll. Nobody knows what we got. Someday soon, I'm gonna make it.